it was a freak thing. Blood pressure is normal. Everything is normal, okay? In Casa Grande. They tell me my purpose here is greater than... And I believe that. And I told these guys earlier today, I said, when I was 17 years old, I've always been a protector my entire life. And I'll die a protector. And left of me, and that includes all of you. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about what color you are. I don't care what you believe in. I once took an oath to protect your right to have an opinion, to think. It's okay that other people don't think the way you think. You know what? We need to put this division away. Movement. I see things that I don't like. And that's the division within us. The reason why we're not as powerful as we need to be is because we're not united like we should be. We're not organized like we should be. And we need to get to that point, and we need to get to that point quickly. It's time to unite, folks. It's time to put our differences aside, put our personalities aside, stop wanting to get in front of the microphone and the camera, and let's start really doing something and making a difference, because our country depends on it. Senator Janae Shamp interviewed me a couple weeks ago when I took her down to the border. And she asked me, what are the things that keep me awake at night? And I told her, I says, that I die knowing that I didn't leave this place a better place for my grandkids. And that's a duty as an American that you're supposed to do. And that's what we need to do, folks. Children, our grandchildren, and their grandchildren, so they don't have anything to worry about.
And you are healthy and strong, and the precious blood of Jesus is your shield and protector. We just pray for healing over you.
Thank
in
you.
Jesus' name, amen.
Yes, thank you.
Love you so much.
Thank you.
You're
Love you
amazing.
too.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sean. A hand for Sean. Yeah, let me take your mic. Hey, mics. Don't worry, they're all coming back on. Okay, so really important, guys. I mean, are you glad you're here? You were the ones meant to hear this message today. That means you were the ones chosen to take action and spur one another on towards love and good deeds, doing the right thing. Now, Scotty, wow, I'm kind of blown away. It's like,
how do you? Is this working? No.
No. But it's working in the sense that live stream's listening.
Oh, okay.
So just speak all the way. My grandma is 92. Can you talk to her back there?
Hi, Grandma. Look, how do you go? Have another guy who's pretty darn good in his own right. He can tell us a lot about what to do on the local impact on the border. He's been there. He is running for Congress, I believe, the 28th district in Texas, right?
Yes.
Southern. He'll tell us the 28th district of Texas. He was a vaccine whistleblower. He's now blowing the whistle on the border, and this is the kind of guy we want to put in Congress all across the country. Please welcome Commander Jay Furman.
Woo, Commander! Woo.
I want this one.
You got it.
All right.
You got it. Thanks, Commander.
Appreciate you. Howdy, how y'all doing? Can you hear me in the back? All right, thanks for that kind introduction. I am going to scream, so sorry to the mic, but I want you guys to hear it because you are the remnant as mentioned, and Christ began with 12 disciples. There's over 2.5 trillion Christians in the world. Right, that's here. That's going to start a crescendo into November, okay? We're going to unite, as Sean so well said. And so right now, vaccine mandate whistleblower as mentioned, because things weren't right. The day they instituted that, August 2021, that no one wanted to pay attention to. And I tried to write it in a what your belief system was. It was a strategic argument that, hey, half the folks in the military have decided not to take this shot because we don't know what we don't know, and have had. let's stop there. You went to high school science. We need a control group so we can drive the tanks, fly the airplanes, sail the ships, and keep this country protected. No one wanted to listen to that. The white paper news outlet, it might have gone viral. And then still people weren't listening, so I went on Tucker Carlson, and then things got really weird for me. All right, so I can tell you the whole FISA pushback right now, that's real. It's been surveilled like it has been overseas. All right, so do I need to come down there? Can y'all still hear me in the back? Okay. Is absolutely true, okay? My experience with the border is this. I began my military career in the border. I was actually, before I went in, okay? Went to college, went off, and went around the world. So I flew half the time in the Navy, the other half I was what we call a foreign area officer. And so I went to all the Trump crap holes. I mean, I know what the bad borders look like. I've been on the worst of our allies. I retired from the Navy right before they slammed my pension for Trump. And Bible study friend of mine wisely said, because I was really jaundiced with the military, spent my entire 5 generations in the military, it became my identity. But God used that moment to shake me up and to make sure I knew what I was standing on, Him. And so he said, you need a new cause, Jay. He had an NGO that did child sex trafficking, took guys. So I said, well, we're going back to Texas. What's the intersection? They didn't know us. Well, it took me about a couple weeks to figure out that we are about a half a chapter from closing the book on this country, like borders I've been on, used right now overseas and on many continents. It's weaponized mass migration. It's already been mentioned. That is the 2030 term, and we use that intentionally to push back. Weaponized mass migration is a human bomb. All right, and so our own politicians may be caught up in their own corruption and manipulated to allow this to happen, to do voter replacement, lower the wages, whatever they're thinking, open borders, kumbaya, you know, global national companies that are bigger than nation states don't want to be checked by you and I. But whatever the reason is, our company, the world's enemies, our near-peer enemies around the world are using it. They're running in through this door, as Sean so well said. All of them. China, Russia, Iran, the Iranian terror network, all of them. And those soldiers are already here, right? So what do? It's crazy. So I tried to do something about it, tried to do a shockumentary about this thing, and I had all of the resources together. Then Uvalde shooting happened, and we covered that. We were actually in town at that time. And then suddenly, my whole enterprise went away. And so, hey, all right. I was getting hoarse anyway. So, and I'm telling you all this, and let me tell you where I'm going. I'm telling you of all this because I'm talking about doing things. Still planning on stepping off. Becoming informed, and then taking action to inform other people, to activate them, to get them to run for office, to get them to put projects together, as said. All right, so, and I'm going to tell you about my journey and how I'm doing that and what I've resolved to do. Then I'm going to give you some solutions at the end that you all can get involved. All right, so on the border, it's as bad as Afghan borders I've been on. I was dropped into the middle of a civil war, so it's just an instant over time formula. But truly, 100 guns them, and then it's game on. Because mass is a quantity of its own in warfare, and it doesn't require a lot of tools for that warfare. Hey, we have all the guns they need here. We're really bounded by our own lawful paradigms, our own lawful, the people around us that are just deciding to obey the law. But as mentioned before, one of the speakers, when opportunity is presented, when there's a lawless moment available and no one's looking and that becomes the new norm, then people move. Man goes to his basis level and moves in that. Well, we have 15 million or plus people that just came here. I'd put any one of those people that crawled through the Darien Gap to get here up against your average Walmart shopper, okay? So it's not much of a match. And then we have our own waitingly. In the middle of those, we do know there's about 1 million plus actual criminals. Explosion, this time bomb we're sitting on right now. Okay, so those people are already fielded among us. That's happened. All right, so what do we do about it? It's what everybody wants to know. So I couldn't shake it. So we retired out of DC, had one more son to finish high school. We wanted to finish him there. and it just wouldn't leave me. America First legal friends that helped me in the vaccine mandate fight kept. That's a Shark Tank. They don't do anything. Congress has a 15% rating. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. They kept pushing, and then we finally committed to pray on it. And don't worry about outcomes. Don't worry about circumstances. Don't worry about resources. All those are mine. I've got those. Just run, take the step towards me, and do it. So we took another deployment. We were moving back to Texas anyways. I moved in advance of the family, went back there, and on the last day you could register in Texas, register to run for Congress. Community. The Rio Grande Valley, Laredo area is 230 miles of border. The worst runs through that border, has historically. And fun part, the representative there right now has been there on the border for money laundering, for bribery, and for representing foreign government that the operation ran through, so they get indicted too. So that's fun for them. So this is what I'm running against. This is a caricature of what we have to. We're going to go run for office. It's been great so far. The journey's been crazy. Points. God is good. I walked into this thing, latest day you could register. I hadn't built a war chest. I emptied out my savings, poured it in the race, raised another $50,000 along the way, and then sputtered through the finish line of the runoff. Amazing discipleship. I can tell you folks, get active. You just have to walk towards Jesus and his cross. Work miracles in the Bible. He doesn't need us to work. That's the formula he wants for us. That's how he knows we work best, okay? They all required those miracle recipients in the New Testament to move towards him first, to believe first, okay? That's his requirement. That's his formula. He made this entire place, so let's activate that formula. It's there. That blessing's there for us. Our disciples, look what we have now in the world. This remnant right here, activate something awesome, and we can take it to the border, and then from the border into our capitals and replant what we have as Christ's dividend for this country to be the light for the world, because he's not done with us yet. I firmly believe he's not done with us yet. So I told you I was going to leave. It's just something we're doing this in this campaign. I'm military minded. So my 3 platforms are land, liberty, prosperity. In this country, all of it's band-aids until we do that. Okay, everything else is just a stopgap measure until we actually have the people, because government comes from inside out in our country. The French philosopher Tocqueville noted that when he came in the middle of the 1800s, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to do the next numbered republic, and they couldn't figure it out. But he reported it, and I believe that it's because then, and now we still do, the most amazing thing in the history of the world, the history of mankind, because of that. So we have to get back to that. So yes, land, liberty, prosperity, all that's wrapped up in God, but each one of those platforms have. So one of those things is land. That's the border. The operation is called Get Involved. This app is coming on the street in a couple weeks. Okay, so it was Kim rather, that told me a great story that happened here. Yard backed up to the border, and she was tired of the cartel running the border. Okay, I don't know all the details of the story, but it was beautiful that she just got tired of the cartel, night after night after night, lady by herself. She said, I'm going to do something about this. Nobody else is. I'm going to do something about this. So she drove, watching her backyard with her headlights, and shined a light on it. Well, what do you know? Those people went around that. And then that caught on. Her neighbors did that. And before you know it, they had the entire part of that border avoided by the people coming into the country, because they're shining a light on this. It empowers each one of us to take some of the power back in that way. So it makes all of us citizen journalists. And it social networks, John said, and takes a picture of however you encounter the border. Somebody, a long line at the airport, a bunch of people with those manila folders or those clear plastic bags, okay? The ER is full. There's people in my kid's school or whatever in the police office or whatever, wherever you encounter it. however you encounter the border, we need to crowdsource report this because obviously it's not being well reported. We need to chronicle how it's impacting all this. And then you can't debate that. So the next time, Lord willing, if I'm in Congress and we're debating a bad border bill again, and Mitch McConnell's saying, yeah, we need to do all this and make this border disaster permanent, well, I can say, well, I can snap poll this community of interest of 300,000 people, Mitch, and ask them if your 5 things that are terrible or what they want. And they'll tell me right now. So it's bringing the people's voice directly in. It's a top targeted district now that is what God's done up through the primary now. And so because I don't play ball. I didn't change my talking points from in front of the people to in front of them. I wasn't somebody that they could utilize in their shenanigans. Because those folks don't get the things that we get. I call them the status quo party. Okay, they've got the rig in the game. They don't want to change a thing, and the rest of it is just a false dichotomy, right? And the other party, so there's the status quo party. The other party is the We the People party. And the representation is exactly opposite. There's probably 40 congressmen that are representing We the People at any one time. So the numbers just don't work out for us. So we have to flip that model, and we have to bring our voice into those discussions and say, hey, look, this is not a Republican or Democrat issue. Everywhere I've worked in the world, and I worked in the world, so if the other village is coming to burn your village down, it doesn't matter what you think left or right of you with your neighbors about anything else except living. You only have to have living in common, period. In our front lawns. And we can't wait until we feel the hot breath of that problem in our faces to do something about it. So we absolutely have to activate right now and our leadership to have the biggest mass deportation in the history of this country. It has to be now. It's impossible. No, it's not. We're America. We're the big, country that shows up late and does big things. We save the world twice that way. Okay, so in my deportation plan is simple. We put out and say, hey, go to one of these surged FEMA deportation asylum centers within 3 months, show up and report. Okay, if you don't show up and report, then we're going to chase you down with ICE. But if you show up and report, hey, look, we own this, America, we did this to you. We invited you in here. We didn't vote on it. Own this. So show up on these deportation centers. We're probably going to deport you. But if you do that, you get to out of this country. We're going to fly you back to yours or a third country who will take you that's safe. We're going to give you a little something shape. In 12 months, we can't afford the interest on the debt. All right? So this is going to end us one way. Amounts of money. We're talking about third world nations. All right? So we give a period of time that they show up and report. All right? Because the bad guys aren't going to self-identify. No, I mean, I give the analogy, hey, it's like we had your children's school open for over 3 years, and we have good heart. Never come back. And we make it painful on the way out the door, and we're allowed to take a stop at Gitmo for a period of time. Okay? Whatever it takes. And we have to do that. We can do it. We have this app, Operation Border Lights. It's coming, okay? We're all going to become citizen journalists. We're going to gather this voice, and we're going to organize, like Sean said. And you can't debate the pictures, okay? You can't debate this body that is interested in this one thing, and this great conversation about this one community of interest. You can't. It doesn't matter what your politics are. So that's land, Operation Border Lights. Liberty. We have something that just hit the street. It's called Operation Freedom Works, but we called it in the App Store Commander Furman App. This is a way to go after and get and it's a way to activate even the kids because it's gamified. So everything you could do for election integrity or for volunteering for a campaign, it's in this app, the Commander Furman app in your store right now in the app stores. All right? So I'm not saying this is the only way. This is just what we're doing, and I'm sharing with you what we're doing and ask you to get involved in these things right now because there's no other moment. You need to become an evangelist and do these things. You need to do these things like never before. Recognize we've been addled. We've been addled by COVID. We've become a precinct chair. I've got 8 precinct chairs in one of my counties. I have 9 counties. My biggest thinks of my slice of that county have actual precinct chairs in the Republican Party. That's pathetic. I mean, all right? That's on us. You know, everybody wants their democracy for free, but it's the most expensive thing we have. Status quo party, they've gobbled that up. All right? So you get active, need to do those things, run for office, wherever it is, at whatever level. Get involved in your kills. Somebody shows up in the neighborhood, bring them cookies. You know, get to know people, get into community. All right? So these apps are things that we can focus on. That's what we're doing right now. I encourage you to do your thing. If you would, though, tell people about these apps, okay? Documentary moment. And we thought, God, what are you doing with all this? Well, he said, hey, you're going to put it in the campaign. And we're doing that. And it's been amazing. And he has showed up at every... Commander Furman. F-U-R-M-A-N. Like the university. F-U-R-M-A-N. Commander Furman app. All right. Cool. Hey, we've gamified it for the kids. You can be on the leaderboard. All right, and then I want some people to tell me what they decide to do. All right, so that's the second half of my question. Something new, or something new and something you're doing. A lot of y'all have very full plates.
First, turn to your neighbors. If you're sitting at a table with two people, get off your phone. Maybe you're doing the app still. That's okay. Finish the app. And then turn to your neighbor and share. Great job, Commander.
Okay, all right, time's up. In the back with the black Trump hat. What are you going to do? Yeah, the guy looking behind himself. What are you going to do different today? Keep going, keep going. See, I'm going to be that teacher, that instructor that just randomly picks people.
Do you want to know what you're going to tell us what you're going to do? Come on, guys, let's bring it. You guys are awesome back here, by the way. So good to meet you guys.
Take action.
That is what it's about. There's no more time for waiting. It's time to take action. I have a feeling you have something to say.
Oh, I mean, just people know what's going on. Let people know about what happened here. Let people know how they can get involved, because the more people we get involved, the stronger we're.
Well said. Thank you. So good.
I'm going to go to the voter rolls in Arizona and make sure that I am
Action,
That's awesome.
You guys. That's action. Anyone else? Going once. Oh, Dolores Womack Williams.
Well, I'm going to start making calls to Republicans in my area.
Yeah, George,
it.
you have something you want to say too.
She said it all.
She said it all, and he got a thumbs up. So good, so good.
Real estate agent, and I just made 400 flyers, and I didn't print the backside for some reason, but now I'm going to get that information.
Okay? Don't pass up God's prodding. He's patient, but he also is time-bounded too. He gives us a time. So I read a great couple of books by Eric Metaxas recently. Anybody know who that author is? Yeah. A lot, and then recently wrote about Germany, specifically interwar Germany. And he was talking about the church there, their remnant, the Lutheran church, of course, because it's Martin Luther's Germany. A lot of you know this story, but I'm just going to leave you with it because it just kind of just punctuates. 1/3 of that Lutheran church, the greater Big C church, supported Hitler. Okay, so I don't know what they were doing. Okay, and crazy. All right, we know some churches like that here in our home country that might support Hitler. Okay, so 1/3 supported, and then 1/3 were the Dietrich Bonhoeffer following ones. Okay, and Dietrich Bonhoeffer was the Billy Graham, if you will, of Martin Luther Germany. And so 1/3 were pushing back really hard against the Hitlerization, if you will, or Nazization of Germany. And pay attention here, guys. All right, I'm going to take a little side here. Do you think that America could ever become as bad as Nazi Germany? Did we not just all experience COVID and the mind meld that was? I wondered if America could before COVID. I have no doubt that we could now. All right? That 1/3 in the middle of those churches, those Lutheran churches in Germany, sat on their hands and protected their tax status and said, they're not coming for me yet. I'm going to self-protect. They're responsible for the Holocaust. They're responsible for the terrible fallout from World War II that we're still feeling today. All these world bodies, that's the dividend of that, the grandchildren. Let's not be that here in America. We need our own World War II response right now, an all-of-country, all-out response. We all need our figurative victory gardens and our scrap metal collections and going to the local food, whatever, okay? We need that level to push back. We need that might. And you know what? We outnumber them, okay? I'm encouraged that you pushed through the throttling that was done to this event. Okay, that's awesome. For coming, I know it's been long.
Commander Jay Furman, you're amazing. Today, now we've got one more speaker before we make our mark. You are at the Take Our Border Back North America Alliance. We have broken bread today. We've had table talks, yes, and we have prayed. How do you say that? What's next? Really, we have an amazing gentleman that drove in from Arizona, and he's taking the place today, and he's like perfect to take the place of Craig Salmon Sawyer. A pretty bad flu, so he is not with us, but he said, you know what, best guy. This guy is awesome, and I had the privilege of spending some time in Tulsa, Oklahoma with Clay Clark and General Flynn and Forrest Steely. Forrest is a rock star. We are touching on, breaking open shit.
Thank you, Kim. I just want to shout out for Kim. She's done a great job, her and her team, of bringing this all about my military service. Craig Sawyer, he's the founder. He and I grew up together. My path took me into college sports. And so my journey took me through banking. And so now I run the business side of our organization. And so how we were founded was Craig, after his career in the military, and some other things, diplomatic security and high threat mobile security. He was having a cigar with an intelligence officer in Conroe, Texas. And this is an hour north of Houston. This is where we grew up. And this gentleman was telling, and you mean to tell me that it's worse here, the evil is worse here in our country than what I've been chasing? He said, yes. In the intelligence community, the best thing you can do when somebody is running a covert operation is shed light on it. It'd be easy. Well, it wasn't. And at one point I get a call from him and he was, you need to pray about it, you need to think about it. I'm like, I'm in. He goes, no, you take, I'm in. And there's a lot of people that have spoke today. There's a lot of people that are here today. They did what I did. Our whole lives, we went to school, raised a family, you know, earned a living. And every time we'd see something on TV, we'd say, oh, they're going to fix that. They're going to take care of that. And one day I had a guy that I was and that has always stuck with me. And so for us to fix this country, okay? So he started Veterans for Child Rescue. We made a movie called Contraland. You can watch it at Contraland documentary. It's a gut punch, but you can watch it with your family. And I highly encourage you to on the border. It shows we have some pretty smart people. We talk about Alfred Kinsey. We talk about his role. Think of being a bad guy. These are people that were hiding in plain sight. And obviously we focus on fundraising to run the organization. We also run counter-trafficking operations with law enforcement because I've worked with, he has lent us some team members, and these guys are awesome. They're fun to work with. They're hard chargers. Their efficacy is very high. So, Sean, thank you for your team members that you lend us. So we run counter-trafficking operations. Going back to, we're trying to expose what's going on. And it's amazing to me how difficult of a topic, when I talk to people, when they hear what I do, a lot of times I'll get a thank you for what you do, but when we go to talk about the meat of it, they don't want to talk about it, okay? So, kind of give you a little bit about our efficacy. We've had 28 predator arrests, and Jay Furman, by the way, we had 27 till yesterday. We had one in Starr County that was because we have a 100% conviction rate. So we had one in Starr County. It took us a year. It's done. So we have 87 warrants currently. We just finished an operation in the Nashville area. We had one arrest, and we have 70 warrants that we're processing right now with law enforcement. So we work along with law enforcement. Now, one of the things that's important for you guys to understand, and this is something that I like to talk about, is you know, if you're an Air Force pilot, and if you ask any Air Force guy, how do you know you're over the target? And any Air Force folks here? Okay, so then you're over the target. And I mean that figuratively, because somebody being attacked, you need to take a moment, don't immediately buy into the narrative, and you just say, okay, what did these guys do? Whose Wheaties did they piss in? This is important because this is what they're trying to do. Inspecting their world. They don't want you catching bad guys because we cast a wide net and you just never know who you might reel in. That was the brother of an officer in Jdata. And our host officer knew this guy. And we picked him up, we arrested him, got here trying to have sex with a 14-year-old girl. And that just broke my heart. I came up with this mathematical equation. I'm harming children at an industrial scale, larger than all pro sports combined. Okay, I want y'all to think about that. All pro sports. So I'm from Houston, Texas, and Rockets fan, you know, Texans fan, more of an Astros fan than anything. But I got memorabilia that I can recognize. I go into the grocery store, I see evidence of the sports. But yet, there's more dollars being spent, and yet most people don't know what to look for, they don't see it, they don't realize it. And then when you try to talk to somebody about it, they don't want to hear it. About this topic, more so before it touches you and your family. And I promise you, you probably know somebody it's touching already, okay? Now, in my journey of trying to understand chaos equals wealth and power, why did I come up with that? Well, the first president that I voted for was Reagan. Okay, I was in high school, and I voted for Reagan for two reasons. Number one, my parents voted for him, and number two, he got shot and he lived. So I thought he was a badass. That was it. That was my measurement. As I got older, I better understood. But every election cycle, I would learn a little bit more about why I voted for whoever I voted for. But one thing that always stuck in my mind, and everybody here has recognized this, I call fish camp. You know, you're a freshman senator or representative, you go through orientation, what they represented to us. And so we would get around logical answer. And so ultimately, in thinking of this chaos equals wealth and power, and so I look at our policymakers, and I think there are 4 positions that our policymakers hold as it pertains to that. You look at a politician that is doing the opposite of what they're saying. That, to me, is the best answer until somebody comes up with an answer. Satan does not have, he has no power. He gets it from us. We yield our power to him, and we're doing it through the children because the children are the most precious and innocent. And Satan's already lost this war, So he's just trying to wreck us because he knows where he's going. So that's where I've derived that from. So earlier we talked about 5th generation warfare. We attack. We've been in a war for a long time. We didn't know that. And one of the things that Craig talks about, and we talk about all the time, is absolute people. We've relinquished this power to our policymakers, and we need to bring it back. So a lot of what we're hearing today is about taking that power back. Now, 5th gen warfare, one thing that I would recommend y'all do is General Flynn and Boone Cutler wrote, I think they're about to release Series 4, the 4th session, but they wrote a book called The Citizen's Guide to 5th Generation Warfare. You can get it on Amazon. I think you can get it directly from them. I highly recommend you read this. For you military folks, it was written like a field manual. It's the size of a field manual, okay? The first generation is a general one. The second one, I think, is AI. And the third one, I can't remember. But church, yeah, we got the one about the church. So I highly recommend that you read that. I also recommend that you read the 45 Communist Goals that was read into Congress. I think it was December 7th or 3rd, 1963, somewhere around there. Read the Communist Goals, because everything that we're seeing happen is written, it was predicted back in 1963, and this is important. And a lot of the folks from Vietnam, they probably understand this better than anybody. And when I talk to folks that are from other countries, they look at us and they're like, as a witness to what's happening now, I was there when it happened in my country, why don't they get it? And so I understand your concern, and I applaud you for standing up here and sharing your story. The other thing is there was a gentleman by the name of Yuri Bezmenov. Okay, there's about a 13-minute video. There's a longer video, but I think it's the 13-minute video on YouTube. He's predicted a lot of what's happening, and it is touches. Destroy the family unit. Okay, these things are important because he said, we'll never beat America. Russia will. One of the things that I tell people is that you can pray. And everybody says this, people about prayer. And I've met a lot of people that are great prayer warriors. My mother is a great prayer warrior. They're intimidated by that. And those are the people that I'm talking to. If you're intimidated, I tell them, I'm never going to be like them. What I do is sometimes I'm mad. I'm mad as hell. I try to be respectful. But what I'm trying to do is have a looking for instruction and download. I'm looking for what is it that you want me to do? How do I run the organization? How do I run my family? How do I have a relationship with my children and my wife? All these things. And how important it is just to take care of the trash that we're seeing. Southern California, if you go to north of here, San Bernardino, LA, the trash is horrendous. It's ridiculous, and I have a real problem with that. So I pray about those certain things. I have a list of people that I pray for. I have a list of things that I pray about, and that's what I talk to God about. But before I do that, when I start in the morning, and you want to be in this fight, it's a dark world to be in. We have no choice, though. You could sit there and say, well, I'm going to ignore it. Well, it's going to catch up to you. For the things that I have. You know, I'm grateful for the air that I breathe, for beautiful blue sky, for the woods, the trees, things like that. And that helps me get in the right frame of mind to talk to God. And then I pray for the things that I need to pray for. And I always ask for Him, and I will tell you this, I quit asking for patience. People always say they want patience. Well, my life was getting pretty hard. And I laughed. I was talking to my mother. I told you, be careful of what you ask for. So I quit praying for patience. Every now and then I said, God, I need a break. So if any of you, like I said, I don't feel special about what I do as far as praying is concerned, but if any of you ever want, I'll be happy to just give you some pointers, give you some ideas, but I do encourage you to have a relationship with God, because we need, and when you connect with Him over time, what you'll information that I need to hear, it's almost overwhelming, and it's almost like I'm dialing the AM radio and then I get off channel, then I'm dialing back in. But when I'm If you have the means, I do encourage you that. The other thing is volunteer. Now, I get so many people that want to kick indoors. There's a lot of door kickers here. Write a grant for me. I need you to review a contract. I need somebody to do. People do not understand what special accounting firm that I have to utilize because we're a nonprofit. I have to be registered in 22 states and where to do to receive donations. There's paperwork galore. I have people that help me do that. But when I ask somebody who wants to kick indoors to help me with paperwork, they look at me like I've got two heads. But this is important, a lot of the minutia that we have to do. And I say this, street sweeper speech. And it's, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets, and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. So if you're going to help a nonprofit organization, or if you're going to help anybody here in the political arena, you do it like it's the greatest thing that you've ever done. Okay? If you want to make a mark in the world, do what you do as best as you possibly can. No matter if it's cleaning toilets or if it's kicking indoors. Okay? There's one other thing that I wanted to share with you guys, because I get asked a lot about other people in the fight, other organizations. I don't really comment because I only know my little bubble. There's sometimes I will, but for the most part I don't. And the reason I don't is because I notice people what they're looking for, because I get intel all the time that's bad. Oh, you know, that so-and-so, he's lazy, or they don't really do what they say they're doing. Whatever negative energy. And going back to, when somebody does something great, they get attacked. So I want you guys to quit listening to the noise. Okay, and I'm going to just read these last two things that goes with this. And this is what's funny. It's like I was thinking about Kim. You know, I had this little joke. It says, why should I be upset with Kim if she's friends with the Starbelly Sneetches? Who cares? Doing. And so I read Ephesians 4:31 this morning at 3:45 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. Let all bitter, therefore meddle not with him that flattered with his lips. So quit listening to the noise. Matter if they've done stupid things in the past. What are they doing right now? And I think that's my time.
So good. We cannot let this happen on our watch.
Oh,
Okay.
FYI, I did notice there was a typo. You can get to our website.
V4R.
V4CR.
V4CR.org. Say that 4 times. Okay, fantastic. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's give him one more round of applause. I want you all to know you've got resources that are being passed out to you as we speak. You're about to head out for a march, but before we do, we have some sponsors to thank, don't we?
We do, and we're just so blessed. And to the 100 people that came here today, my hat's off to you. You could have been doing a lot of things on this beautiful day. I walked into the change and go play, but you're here, I'm here, and we're going to go to the board, and we're going to wave it and interact with the Mexican. Just how many times?
It's been an incredible day. We've heard a lot to chew on today, a lot to digest. Really, really important. It's nourishment to activate the soul. We are mind, body, and soul. We are not human doings. We are human. We said it in the beginning, it comes from our Creator. It comes from God. And that's where our sovereignty comes from. So grateful. And you can still donate. We have lots of events coming up. You can go to givesendgo.com/take our border back AT criminal law. And I was like, are these guys patriots, Scotty? Like, are these guys like...
We've got people that have really done nothing. I don't want to get into the good police. There are people sitting in jail that don't belong there. January 6th. Can you say J6?
Yeah.
So
bail bonds. We want to say thank you as one of our sponsors as well.
Yeah, great guys. They turned their bail bond business into a law firm business. So Great entrepreneurs.
Smart guys, really smart. And for all of our vendors today, we want to say thank you so, so much for being with us. Our volunteers, guys, we're not done. We are about to march to the border. And, thank you to all of our police officers who are here, our sheriffs that are here today. We're so grateful for you guys. We're a stand, and we just love you. And we want you to know that we stand beside you. Okay? They're going to be with us on this journey as we walk to the border today. They want to make sure it's safe, that it truly is a prayerful, peaceful, constitutional action march. So let's talk about what it's going to look like. Are we ready?
Kim, I just wanted one more thing.
Yeah.
The last people I thought I'd be thanking in the last decade is CNN. But you guys know what?
Yeah.
They've been here working hard all
They
day.
have.
And I believe these guys are going to use the footage
For
to tell a real story, not to slam and jam us.
Come on, CNN.
We're not going to be called white Christo fascists
Yes.
and white nationalists.
Come
I think
on.
they're really
Yes.
going to give us a fair shake. So thanks to CNN. God, I
Yeah.
never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, and Robert from Chula Vista, who's been live streaming for us, we could not have done this without you. So all of our live streamers, we're so grateful for you today. A big shout out for the live streamers. And Robert, so good. All of our amazing speakers are going to be here afterwards. So we're gonna, Lonnie, Mr. Lonnie, is Lonnie in the house? All right, so Lonnie is making sure, where's Lonnie? Oh, Lonnie! Lonnie
Here he
will
comes.
be leading our march today. So Lonnie was here last night. We were here putting up the stage with the team last night. I think we got in, what time did you get in?
1 o'clock.
It was a long night for all of us. But we got the banner up, we got the stage up, and it's all about teamwork and coming together. So Lonnie, we're about to march to the border. We're going to have communion. We're going to break bread with Mexico. Mexico right now is waiting for us. They're there. They just had their event. We're going to pray. We're going to declare. And, Forrest said something that was really powerful, and I want to piggyback off of that, Lonnie. He said, left in this space that what we speak has power. So I want us to remember that this earth that is in heaven. We're going to declare victory, that the battle is won. We're going to take territory.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. Who's ready to go to the border? That's what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do, folks, we're going to meet over there at the large flag right in the parking lot. We're going to meet over there. We're going to cross the parking lot at the Ross parking at the building over there. We're going to go to the border itself, to the wall, and then we're going to proceed on down to the crossing area. So, all right, so everybody, we need to meet over there. As soon as we wrap up, we're going to go over there in a single file so that we can show our solidarity. If you'd like to take some of the flags off the table and carry those as we go on our march, just follow me and we'll be in the front, and we're going to take care of you guys.
Awesome, Lonnie. So good. So it's really important that you take your personal belongings. So if you have wallets or purses, take that with you. That's important. We are going to have people that are staying here because we're coming back. We're not done after that. We're marching back. Then we're going to have closing, and it's going to be pretty powerful what we're closing with. Now, for those of you that are driving, do you have a question in regards to driving? Yeah, 10-minute walk. It's short. It's sweet. It's going to be a great walk. We've been sitting for a long time to get those hip flexors moving. Yeah? Okay, fantastic. So if you're going to drive, you can take the road that is right out, the main road along all of Ross, and just follow it straight down until you get to the San Ysidro border crossing. And just park right there in that parking lot. You'll see us, okay? So, my freedom-loving Americans and Mexicans who are probably listening, and Canadians, it's time. It's time for us to take our power back. It's time for us to stand in freedom. We, the people, coming together to march. We're going to pray. We're going to declare. We're going to take this land back. All right, here we go. And music up. Let's take that patriot music and let's out. Let's declare and let's go. Woo! Here we go. Head on over.
Powerful. Michael, do you think you can, as we're gathering, will you give us a powerful worship song? You still got that in you? I know you do. Let's do it. All right, so what we're going to do is we'll transition over, and Michael is going to play some worship music. Let's do it.